Erin Rosar, and welcome to this week's episode of WGTV. With the holiday season here, now that we're in December, I want to spend the next couple of weeks talking about different topics that I think will be helpful to you during the holidays. So this week I wanted to talk about cheese and a little bit of sort of a helpful guide and some hints for you to put together cheese plates and some serving hints as well. Now, I have a glass of bubbles here with me to help me through today, and definitely sparkling wine and cheese can be perfect and lovely pairing together, but so can red and so can whites and sweet wines. So it's important to know that any wine that you would like to pair or that you love, we can definitely find a cheese out there for you. Cheese is a lot like wine, and I won't pretend to be an expert on cheese because it's a whole topic unto itself, but I definitely love it, I can help you with it, and I can definitely work with the flavors and how the wine go together. So let me just tell you a few hints of how to put things together in regards to cheese. What I've done in front of me here is we have sort of a cheese basic tray. Now there's a few rules of thought, if you will, when you're putting together a cheese plate, and you'll probably be entertaining over the holidays. You can do a couple things. You can just use one large cheese and serve one cheese, make it go with the wine that you enjoy, and it's easy. So just one large cheese plate all on its own. Or you can do a selection of cheeses. But with cheese, sometimes less is more. So 4 or 5 cheeses is the most that I would suggest that you put out for people because it can just get overwhelming. So there's sort of an old wives' tale, if you will, or a rhyme that we use to put together cheese plates, and that's something old, something goat, something new, and something blue. So we have our blue cheese here, and I want to talk about that a little bit. Goat cheese, something old, and something new. Now you can also throw in something creamy. So if you're a brie lover or camembert, something like that, definitely those cheeses can go in here. Now, when putting together a cheese plate, you want to make sure there's enough room in between the cheeses so people can cut them. I think we've all had the experience where we've tried to cut a piece of cheese on a cheese plate and they've sort of shooted off and gone off into different places or people or whatever's happened. So we want to avoid that. So you need to make sure there's enough room in between the cheese so they're not all crammed together. It's also important to know that you need a separate knife for each different type of cheese, especially when you're using blue cheese, because we have a mold in here and we don't want to infect all the other cheeses. And it's important to also note that when you put these cheeses in the fridge, they have to be wrapped separately. Otherwise, the flavors and aromas are going to meld together. So, a separate knife for each of them. There's a couple of different type of knives you can use. There's these basic kind of fun little spreaders. They're great for creamy cheeses. This is sort of a cheese blade, if you will. It has a sharp edge, a bit like a razor, so it's easy to sort of take a chunk and slice down. The other one we have is more of a knife as well. So, you can cut off very easily a slice and enjoy, and you can use the tip as a point to be able to pick it up. When you're doing a cheese plate to pass around a table, I also want to mention that make sure it's not too heavy. So if you're sitting down and you're passing a cheese plate around your holiday dinner table, make sure that you can lift it and it's easy to move. Think about if you have a plate of food in front of you, wine glasses on the table, is that tray maneuverable for you? Cheese, definitely leave it out at least a half an hour to an hour before serving. It's best when served about room temperature. A nice plate that's sturdy to be able to cut it on. Good knives is what you need, and different flavors. And don't be afraid to sort of ask for a sample if you have a great cheese shop or boutique near you. Try a cheese before you have it. But if you keep the endage sort of something old, so something a little harder that won't have a lot of cream to it, these are generally cheeses that are better with dry red wine. So we right here have sort of an older style cheddar, which would be great with Cabernet or Merlot or something a little bigger that way, or Malbec. Blue cheese, you have a couple options here. Some people love them with still white wines, but also beautiful with a Sauternes or a sweet white wine. And if you want to, you can also drizzle honey on top of blue cheese. It takes the edge off a little bit, sweetens it up, and it helps to pull it together with a sweet wine style. Chardonnay definitely is a wine style that if you're looking for one that's going to go with a lot of different cheeses, definitely it will sort of hold up to them. Goat cheese is more acidic, so goat cheeses we generally pair with Sauvignon Blanc and try them together, but it doesn't have a lot of creaminess to it. It has a touch, but it's more about acidic goat cheese, so something to think about. And other than that, just play with cheeses, but remember, sort of less is more. Make sure you have space on between your plates so you can sort of cut them, move them around. Make sure your plate isn't too heavy so it's uncomfortable for your guests to move around. And other than that, have a super time. Also, if you have them, there's those little cards on top of the cheese plates to let people know what they're trying, because much like wine, a lot of times they'll try a cheese maybe at your function or event, and they'll want to know what it is. So share the information with people. Let them know if it's cows, milk, goats, sheep, what the cheese is made from, where it's from. If you have some local cheeses, always a great time of year to try those out. So hopefully this has been helpful, give you some good ideas about pairing cheese and how to put together a cheese platter for the holidays. And next week we'll just continue on to a different topic of how we can work in, I think we'll talk about sparkling wines and how we can pair it with your main deal, your main meal for the holidays. So have a great week, enjoy some great cheese, some good wine, and I'll see you all next week. Happy holidays, everybody. Cheers.